Right, World Rugby Rankings. This is take two. A chap living down our driveway just pulled his bins down the gravel driveway. The loudest bins I've ever heard. I'm thankful that he's doing these at 5 o'clock in the evening rather than at kind of 9 when my kids are asleep, but that was noisy. World Rugby Rankings. There's not too much in the way of changes. But the big winner this week is Australia, who have jumped up from 7th to 6th without even having to play a game. So I'm not sure if that speaks into anything as to the way Czech is going. Maybe less is more with Czechs, but no, on a serious note, we'll see how they go once they get into action this weekend, having had the week off. They're basically just benefiting from Scotland having a loss. So yeah, not much in the way of changes. New Zealand's still number one, Ireland number two. Not much between them, 2 points. So it's still going to take a bit of an effort for Ireland to jump to that number one spot. But they do have New Zealand coming to town. So although it's still another week away, a lot of eyes are on that game. And yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's very much looking forward to that game. But first things first, we've got games before that. So 3 and 4 is Wales and England. These guys are neck and neck, and that remains the same with both having wins over the weekend. Wales have actually increased their points total from 85.94 to 86.35. England from 85.68 to 86.16. So as Wales has taken one step forward, England has come along for the ride. So there's no separating those two. Really, it's pretty slim margins. Then there is a wee gap again between South Africa and England. So South Africa's in at 5th. Whilst they haven't dropped any spots, they have dropped a few points on the rankings totals. They were at 83.52. They're now at 83.03, so lost kind of half a point. And that brings them a step closer to Australia, who are just behind them on 82.86. That obviously hasn't changed because they haven't played. And Scotland, we're on 83.02, so marginally ahead of Australia, now dropped down to 7th on 82.61 with that loss. Teams outside of these top 7, France are in 8th, Argentina 9th, Fiji 10th, Japan 11th, Tonga 12th, Georgia 13th, Italy 14th, and USA 15th. So, yeah, not a whole lot doing, but it's only going to get mixed up a little bit more as we really get into these November games. There are only 4 over the weekend in terms of actual tests because that Māori All Blacks one and USA doesn't register as an official test match, as far as I'm aware. So, yeah, there's definitely some mouth-watering clashes now that those spots are confirmed for the week coming. I mean, the first game, which I'm probably not going to do a preview and review for because there are 6 games on this weekend, so I have to probably prioritize my time, but also because, to be honest, I'm a lot less familiar with the teams of Georgia and Italy compared to some of these other ones on the board. So yeah, Italy is playing Georgia over in Italy. It's a mouth-watering one because it's 14th in Italy against 13th in Georgia, and there's always that debate about Georgia coming into the Six Nations. Should Italy get relegated if they keep finishing the bottom? Their record is terrible. But then, one good thing, I mean, obviously, I'm far from the expert on Italian rugby, as I've said before, but a lot of guys on the channel have been telling me, no, Mark, keep watching out for the Italian under-20s guys. A lot of talent coming through. Keep watching out for, this guy at Zebre or this guy at Benetton, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I don't think it's all doom and gloom, but the Italians will be looking to kind of nip that conversation in the bud. Is that another bin? It's a rubbish day. There's a bin coming. I'm too far through to stop now. I'm just going to talk a bit louder. So it's 14th against 13th. It's a loud bin. Wheelie bin on a gravel driveway. As I say, at least they're doing it now that they've finished work rather than in the middle of the night, which some of the neighbours tend to do. It's 14th against 13th. It's Italy trying to shut people up. It's Georgia trying to prove a point. That game looks to have a lot about it. It's from Italy, so Italy should be the favourites, but I guess we'll see how things go. The next, that's only one spot between those teams. All the other games, the other 5, except for one, there's 3 spots between the teams. So you got Scotland 7 against Fiji 10th. That could be a cracker because Fiji, you really never know, man. They could cut you to bits on their day. Whether they can do it for the 80, how the forwards go is going to be an interesting question, but they are deadly, deadly side. England against New Zealand, it's 4th against 1st. Again, 3 spots between them. England coming off a big win. Not big win, but big as in importance. Morale boosting, even if it was far from a clinical performance, but it was a result that they got against South Africa. Give them confidence going into their match against New Zealand. 4th against 1st. New Zealand probably expected to win, if I'm honest. But hey man, England's one of those teams that tends to pull one over New Zealand every few years. It has been a while though. The next one, Wales against Australia, 3 against 6. There's not many spots between these teams, man. And Wales in great form. Their defense is just going to suffocate teams. But Australia is their bogey team. And Australia are just one up in the rankings without doing anything. So maybe they're going to be on a high from that. The one which is, in terms of positions on the world rankings, is kind of a bit of an outlier. It's Ireland against Argentina. That's number 2 against number 9. But I wouldn't read too much into the rankings. I mean, generally, I think most of these teams could beat each other on their day. But Argentina, since Mario Ledesma have taken over, have been much improved. Much improved. In June, they were atrocious. But under the reign of Ledesma at the Jaguares, their Super Rugby team, and now the Pumas, for Argentina, their performance have been much improved. So I would say Argentina are probably worth a bit more than that 9th spot. And then the last one is France against South Africa. Again, 8th against 5th. So there's only a few spots between most of these teams. This 1 November is such a fun time for us because we're getting these matchups we don't normally get. It seems like building into a World Cup year, we've actually got, like some years you do get less than the strongest lineups, but I think most of the squads that we've seen chosen for this test window, they seem pretty tough. So 8th against 5th, South Africa got a point to prove after that narrow loss, controversial loss. But I mean, most of the South African fans who I've had on the channel saying like, we should have done better. And yeah, that's fair. So if South Africa have learned some lessons, they could really bounce back against France. But if they pull off the same kind of inconsistent form, then it could be a bit of a blip for them. So we'll see. France obviously have a point to prove as well. It's their first game, so yeah, there's lots to look forward to. What do you guys think of the rankings? Do you think these teams which are ahead on the rankings are gonna win? Which, I mean, if you're looking at the rankings, Georgia should beat Italy away. Scotland should beat Fiji at home. That's probably the favourite. New Zealand should go into Twickenham and get a win against England. Wales should beat Australia at home. How confident are Welsh fans of that? Ireland should beat Argentina at home. If you're putting money on them, that's probably the one with the biggest margin? I don't know. And South Africa should go to France and should get a win according to the rankings. But as I said, I feel like on their day, these teams could all trouble each other. 6 games, so I'm still going to work out how I'm going to do previews and reviews because that's a lot of content to get through with children running around. But I will sort something out. I'll do at least 4. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on these upcoming games. I'll put the fixtures in the description so you guys can have a look in case you have not followed all my blathering. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the rankings, on the fixtures, and yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.